Welcome to the Pathways to Profitability podcast, personal tales of business success, where we hear local business owners' personal stories of their trials and tribulations that got them to where they are today. Here's your host, Cheryl Mucha, CEO of CFO Your Way.
Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for listening in. Super excited about the conversation today. Our guest is Alia, the love coach. Alia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me too. There's so much to explore here, but why don't you start by just telling our audience a little bit about you, and then we'll get into the good nitty-gritty stuff.
Okay, so hello everybody. I am Alia Jamal, the love coach. I'm also a pranic healer, and I help individuals find their one true love within and enjoy a lifelong romance. So I am all about connecting with your heart, healing your heart. So I combine coaching and energy healing to get to that end result where you get to be the master of your own happiness and inner peace.
I love it. You think about like love coach, it's like finding your significant other, right? But I love finding who we are and loving who we are and finding our true selves. There's so many people that don't know who they are.
Exactly. And I have done 4 different coaching certificates, and I was a relationship coach, and I was working with couples, and I saw that they are coming together because individually they are falling in love with themselves. And the more I saw that, I was like, oh, so that is the key. And as I switch towards more of individual work and the people who work with me, whether they are single, they find love, whether they are having a difficult marriage, their marriage gets better. If their marriage is okay, it gets even better. Because when we focus on ourselves, we nurture ourselves, we are not expecting from other people. And that free energy that we go into when we are nurturing ourselves, it uplifts every single area of our life.
I love that. So let's just backpedal a little bit and tell our audience about your journey. Like, what was the trigger that made you become a coach? I mean, you've been doing this, for about 6 years now?
Yeah.
And like, what was that trigger or that experience in your life that said, this is my calling, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to help people?
So my journey started in 2015. I went into a deep depression after a challenge in my marriage, and I just didn't know how to make sense of the world. So my original career is cytogenetic technologist. Absolutely love it, and I knew that I'm just gonna keep growing in that career. But when I went into deep depression, I'm a very spiritual person to begin with, and that level of spirituality I had didn't help me at all. So that made me even more confused. So after going for therapy and getting a little bit help in 2016, that is when I was like, I need to figure out this thing within me. The that desire to help myself became so big. That's when I got into self-help books. I started studying coaching, did 4 different coaching certificates with Tony Robbins Coaching School. And still I was like, something is missing. That's when I got into pranic healing. So I have done 8 levels of pranic healing. I can really play with energy. When I say I can play with energy, I can really play with energy.
Move
And
the stars and the moons, right?
it's like, clearing a space to removing black magic to like, changing the body. But I use it for emotional healing, cellular emotional healing for my clients day-to-day basis. So fast forward 2019, I am still doing my full-time job, and I'm helping whoever I can on the side. I already have my business registered since 2018. And that is when I finally filed for divorce, and I withdrew my case after 2 months because my husband at that time, he asked for another chance. And I was like, it's okay. I'm so busy studying. I have this full-time job. I have a kid to take care of. It's okay. It's okay. I'll just give him another year. That moment was my awakening. In that moment, the way I betrayed myself and I put my happiness last, it was almost like I cannot live in myself, and I either my being is going to leave my body. That is when the real discovery started. I started searching for knowledge. Now I was not searching for let me get another certificate. It was like, what is problematic here? That is when I found the heart. So we talk about mindset a lot, but heart has its own world and it is way powerful than mind. It is actually the real powerhouse that we have. So I did a 300-hour course in the it all about learning all about the energy of the heart, front heart, back heart, and whatnot. So as the year went by, I was practicing all that, and I started feeling I am falling in love with myself. So it was September 1st, 2019. I was having a solo breakfast with myself, and in that moment, I had this realization: oh my God, I have fallen in love with myself. And in that moment, a voice spoke to me, you're the love coach, and you're going to help people connect with their heart. And I just sat there kind of like frozen. Okay, is that the direction I'm going? And I was already working with a business coach at that time. And once we had that conversation, it started to developing. So come around 2020, February, made the decision, okay, I'm gonna go for divorce, file for divorce. And I was like, now I know where I'm going in life. I got this job, everything's together. A week after pandemic start uh,
That's
and then
always part of someone's journey. Everyone's journey is like that moment, right?
exactly, and then the school become virtual, and two
Right.
months after that I get laid off.
Oh, wow.
And then the school is going to be virtual for rest of the year. So I literally, for the summer, I sat with this thing. I was like, oh, this is what's going on, what's happening here. By that time I knew we create our own reality.
Right.
And I just asked myself, Alia, why are you creating this? And it was so clear, this is time to step forward to your calling and make
Mm,
this business full time. You cannot dilly dally anymore. That was the message. But of course, it requires a very different level of belief and strength and trust to make your business full time, especially being a single parent. So I started working with with my business coach on a one-on-one level during that whole summer. That the week I had my final divorce hearing, I was promoting my next program. Now when those videos pop up, I'm like, "Oh my god, did you even process your divorce?" I was just promoting. I was like, "This is so important."
right,
And
but it's like divine timing, and everything was just aligned for you. And I love when you say, like, in that moment, having a meal by yourself, that you just felt that so clearly what your
exactly,
calling was, and you didn't ignore it.
yeah. To be honest, it became to a level I couldn't ignore it anymore. I just couldn't. Even if I tried, I just couldn't. It was right in my face because it was just knocking on my door, and I was ignoring it, but now I couldn't ignore
Right.
anymore. So then, after my divorce, end of 2020, I realized and I recognized how much work I need to do on myself to be a successful business owner, to be one of the best coach, and also keep creating my life from a place of desire and not from a place of necessity. So
Right.
that is when I started working with my current coach. His name is David Nagel. Best decision ever. I was shaking making that investment. Best decision ever. And that is where I learned that how I can create my life piece by piece by building trust within myself.
Right.
So I didn't just create the business, and I've been doing it full time since 2020, and it has taken off, and it just keeps getting better every year. But I also been able to create a beautiful friendship with my ex husband, and
It's
my
wonderful.
son gets to benefit from that. So right now he's happily married. I am friends with both of them. I was on their wedding, was part of it. And we have this beautiful blended family, which if somebody told me, like, a couple of years ago, you can grow to that level, I'll be like, no, that's impossible. Maybe after 20 years. But I learned once we become interested in, or we are on that path, we are unlimited where we can go in our personal life and also in our professional life as well. So that is the power of unconditional self-love. So that is what I get to teach other people, how to create that life for them.
Right. And I love that, you went through this through the divorce, and a lot of time that just devastates people, and you came out on the other side and you have this beautiful relationship. Your son is involved in both of your lives, and it's you really extended the family, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And in the same time, you went down this path, had this journey of discovering who you really are.
Exactly.
I see all your social media, and your pictures are absolutely beautiful. And the one picture that really stands out in my mind is the picture of you in the big purple chair, surrounded by. I love that picture. Um,
Thank you.
and it's just a calming. It's just a calming vision, I'll say. And all your videos and whatnot, just the message is so on point. And I just want to let you know I really enjoy them.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And one thing I'm always aiming for is inner peace and that unlimited happiness. I struggle with it. I struggle with negative thinking. I struggle with depression, and then later anxiety as well. So most of the clients who come to me, they're like, Alia, I want that inner peace. And it seems like it's a very foreign concept. Maybe you'll have to go to another planet to get inner peace, but it's right here, available to us all the time. Only if we wake up to feel that, connect with that, and embody that. So all the social media posts or whatever I create, they are very straightforward, and they are more like, kind of, I would say, on an aggressive tone. It's like, hey, wake up,
Right,
wake
right.
up. It's right here. And I'm always sometime I'm just talking to my past version, that how long it took her to wake up, and if I can help someone facilitate that journey for them and do it a little bit faster, their life is going to feel very different.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, One other thing I just want to mention, one of the quotes you had posted is, most people are not going to live their life to the fullest. Make sure you are not most people. It's like, the concept, unbelievable, wow, but our minds don't naturally think that way. We think about, like, I can't do that, not me, whatnot, but that just totally flips the coin.
Exactly. And that quote came one day. I was talking to one of my client, and it was just like, the way conversation was going, and I said that, and then I was like, who else can use it? Most of my content, it works that way. I'm having a conversation and something just comes through, and then I put it on social media. We don't realize that the life we most of us are currently living is a conditioned life. We just looked around and were like, oh, you went for accounting, I'll go for accounting, and I'll do that. You went for science, and I'll go for science, and I'll do that. Most of us don't even take the time to figure out, is this really what I came here to do? And when you start that question, when you truly start asking that question, doors start to open up, and then you start living a life that feels like a lifelong vacation. You don't need retirement from it. You don't need to take a vacation from it, because then it feels like you're playing all the time. You're playing with the universe, you're playing with nature. So that is what I recognize, that not everybody's going to do it. But if there is a voice within you that say, I want that, listen to that voice.
I
Be part
agree.
of
Yeah.
I say, become the 1% of the 1%, because that's where I am. I am 1% of the 1% population of the world, who have that desire to live their full potential while we are in a human body. Most of my
Right.
work is spiritual. I help people fall in love with their soul that came in this body, and letting that power uh, use our body as a channel to create what it came here to create. That is where inner peace and joy is.
Right.
Unlimited inner peace and joy.
Absolutely. And, back to finding like, accounting, coaching, whatever it is we decide to do in our life, to be able to love that. And this comes up a lot of times when I'm recording podcasts, like you love what you do because you're meant to do it. It
Exactly.
doesn't feel like work.
Ex-
It's not a task. It's not a I have to do. It's a joy.
exactly. And I want to make up, like, share something here. I connected with a friend through a network, and she does bookkeeping. And yesterday we had our first conversation. When she talks about bookkeeping, you can see the love. You can
Right.
see the love, and I'm like, this is a person who's in love with what they do,
Right. Right.
and that is the person I want to work with if I want to learn anything from them,
Right.
because they are in love. So for some people it happens with teaching, with being a medical profession and whatnot.
Right.
But if that is not where our heart is,
I agree.
then it's our job to let go of that safety and
Hmm.
discover what else is there, and it's already there,
Right.
whatever we want.
And we're looking for someone to fill a position here at CFO Your Way. And I look at their resumes and I look at, what they got their degree in, right? And what the path of their career was and how it's changed. And it's to that point, like they went to school thinking I wanted to be a whatever, fill in the blank. And they got the degree, they enjoyed getting the degree, but when they started to work in that field of study, they felt like this isn't for me. I need to find that next thing. And I think that's a beautiful thing because to your point, you're finding
Yeah,
what you were meant, why you're here, why
exactly.
you're on earth, and finding that passion that lies within.
Yeah. And we don't realize that each and every one of us came here to do something very specific. I have a special natural talent. Cheryl has a special natural talent. When we discover that and when we nurture that, life is effortless. Everything
Right.
that we do from that place is effortless. Then we don't have to worry about recession. We don't have to worry about competition, because we live in a creative plane, and creative plane is unlimited. We can create whatever we want.
Yeah, and that's the joy of being an entrepreneur, right? Too. You're
Exactly.
I mean, when you're working for someone, yes, there is creativity and you can bring it to the table and just hope that your superior appreciates it and accepts it. But being an entrepreneur, we create our baby. We create, and make it what we want it to be and decide who we want to work with, who we don't want to work with, who we want in our inner circle.
Exactly. We get to create our life the way we want it to be.
Exactly. Well, Aaliyah, thank you so much for being here. I mean, I had notes to talk about childhood and how that affects, our adulthood and our path. And I mean, we could talk for another hour and a half, but I am going to ask the audience, our listeners, to reach out to you to have that next conversation because there is so much that you can do to help people live the life they're intended to live and live in joy and love.
Exactly. Thank you so much for having me. I truly enjoyed this conversation. And my message to whoever is listening is, your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship. Invest in it, your time every single day, to nurture that. And then you would never have to worry about any other relationship.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to our audience, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed our conversation. Go to pathways-to-profitability.com to see all of our recordings, all of our episodes, and stay tuned for upcoming recordings as well. Have a wonderful day.
That's it for today's episode of Pathways to Profitability. Remember to ask yourself, where can I pay my success forward today?